Aloha everyone, this is Imani Carey and coming to you today with the Global Activation Community group call. And I'm excited to be here. It has been quite a dramatic month since the last time we've had a class. And the funny thing is usually I download and create PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. And for this class, they wanted me to pretty much fully channel the information that wants to come through. I'm going to have a general gist of it, but it's definitely going to be an interesting class. But what I really wanted, let's start with getting ourselves grounded and centered for this call. So if you can, just allow yourself to put your feet on the ground, close your eyes and start to feel the pulse of the earth. Imagining the pulse of the earth starting to move up through the bottoms of the feet and riding up both the legs all the way up into the heart space. And then tuning into the cosmic universe, the infinite vast space of the void of source creation above. Allow that energy now to trickle down in through the crown chakra, all the way through the body into the heart, where the heart meets and merges with the divine consciousness and the earth wisdom. And allow that to just circle and spiral in the center of the heart. And then feel a gentle pulse of light that moves from the heart and starts to flood your entire body with a really deep sense of joy and love. And expansiveness and yet groundedness at the same time. And it moves through the neck and the head and the shoulders and the arms, down through the chest and the belly into the pelvis and down both your legs. And allowing this frequency to just bring you into the present space of the here and now. We are so grateful for the assistance of all the divine beings of light, of the highest light that are here to assist us in bringing forth the information and wisdom for today's class. Grateful for all the angels and archangels that wrap us in their wings of unconditional love and nourish us and remind us of our divine grace. And the sacred earth beings of the light, and the elementals, and the pure source wisdom that moves through us as we stay out of the way as the open channel for the purity of divine grace to move through us in this moment. Blessings to everyone in this circle. We are so grateful for everyone here. And so it is, and so it shall be, and so it was. So, now that I'm feeling a little more grounded, hopefully you are too, and you're able to listen and be present to the information that wants to come through. And I wanted to really just touch base on what has been in the field. It's like I was saying before, it is extremely intense time. And, planetarily, we have every single planet moving forward, which, also means that we don't have anything that's pulling us back into the past, but it's actually moving us forward. There's no hindrance in the moving forward, and that's great for the stuff that we want to accomplish. I mean, there's nothing that's standing in our way of that. And what I'm also witnessing is that it's actually calling us into a place of really deep internal wisdom, it's internal time. I've had a lot of reports of people just feeling very tired and sluggish. I think there is a tremendous amount of new energy and codes that are coming through right now. And our bodies literally have to take a minute to acclimate it's affecting everybody. It's in our animals and even the plants. So we have to be gentle with ourselves and everyone that's around us, knowing that we're like in this like deep kind of like cellular detox that's happening from these light waves and frequencies, and it's gearing us up to get ready for something big is happening, and in a good way. And it can also be challenging, and I'm sure a lot of challenges have come up, whether we're getting sick or if we're dealing with health issues, or if we have relationship challenges or work challenges. I mean, there's things that are like some serious catalysts that are, you know, really calling us forth to do the deep work. It's deep work time, my friends, in a way that it never has been before. And it's literally like we cannot, like we're like moving through the permeable field from one earth to the next right now. And we literally, like, everything that cannot be taken with us is being slothed off. And so a lot of us have definitely, like, you know, great things are happening. And we're also having to take a lot of extra time to nourish ourselves and take a nap and take a bath, and also keep ourselves balanced, because in the process of this deconstruction, it's almost like we're like in the chrysalis of the butterfly cocoon where everything is dissolving. We have to remember to use different skills and techniques on how to keep ourselves balanced. And I think, you know, I think those are some of the things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about some of the influences that can be things that we're looking at or clearing, and also ways to, you know, keep ourselves in balance and why we need to. I have a little bit of a cheat sheet of like some topics that came through. And so one of the things that I want to touch on is, like, we have like a cellular makeup and we have the biophotons. So, you know, we're the cells. We're like a bunch of different little cells, and the cells come together and they form organs and they form bones and they form muscles, and each cell has its own frequency and pulse of light. And each cell actually attracts and draws upon different frequencies of light in order to function in a proper way. Now, one thing that can happen when we are living in a state of fear or a state of stress or a frustration or anger is that these cells are starting to pull onto these like different wave frequencies that are pulsing through our energetic and emotional body. And so we have our chakra system that pulses and emanates. And what happens is we start drawing upon the light body that is around us. We start pulling information and wisdom when one chakra becomes overproductive in one way. So say it is our root chakra, and we're in a sense of scarcity, and you know, first and second chakra is a lot of scarcity and, you know, financial worries, or you know, just not being clear and just making a decision, and we're in this like flux mode of what do we do next, and the not knowing. What happens is it gets overprotective, and so we actually start drawing upon our light energy field to keep feeding that particular chakra to keep functioning in an overactive or an underactive way. So then over time, what happens is we literally start to implode upon ourselves. We literally start to like decrease the energy capacity of what our chakra system can maintain, and everything becomes out of balance, which is also sometimes, you know, the cause of certain diseases or imbalances and even neurological states, because when we're drawing upon the light body energy field, when it's not in balance and we're not feeding ourselves in a proper way, like not giving them the proper nutrition because one is taking more than it should, you know, like you're at a big giant family dinner and there's like, you know, like say there's a big plate of ribs and there's only so many ribs for everybody, and you know, one person takes like 12 ribs and it leaves like maybe one rib for everybody else. That's kind of what happens in our chakra system when one is overproductive, or even underproductive. Then it's feeding too much to the other ones and not giving enough to the other, so it throws us out of balance and leaves us hungry or saturated in the other way, like too full, and then we're like lethargic from that perspective as well. So one of the things is like maintaining a healthy chakra system. And the thing is what's so incredible is like our chakra system works with our specific frequency of our biophotons of light. Like, you know, we have our cells, and then we have our, like, it gets smaller than that, our quarks, and then it goes, or I guess we go cells and photons and neutrons and protons and electrons, and then it goes into quarks, and then it goes into biophotons, which are these little pulses of light. We're literally space and then pulses of light. So these pulses of light are feeding off of all these different frequencies in our body and creating homeostasis. But when we're not in that space of homeostasis, then these pulses of light start to dwindle, and we start to get cellular misstructure. So then we get the diseases and illnesses and sicknesses. So like I said, keeping the chakra system really balanced is a really big piece. And we have a unique chakra system of these biophotons that are pulsing these unique lights that generate and run our frequencies and energies in order to, you know, maintain what it is that we in our own particular vibrational frequency are supposed to be emanating. Now, what would it be like if we actually took some time to place attention and awareness onto our chakras? And I'm like, we do that occasionally, like, oh yeah, well, I'm feeling like this, and that must be, you know, I want to open my third eye chakra because I'm just not feeling very psychic right now, or my crown chakra isn't opening, so my hearing, design, wisdom. And so we may think about it sometimes like that. But if we have a general daily maintenance of allowing ourselves to like bring ourselves into the awareness and send like a vibrational frequency of joy and love into each chakra, it's very simple. It only takes like a few minutes, just going through, and I'll take you through this practice at the end of our talk. But it's a very simple practice where you can actually just send the intention, like bring yourself into a deep, theta state. So, you know, that real deep meditative space. So that way you have spaciousness in your consciousness to have transformation. Because when we're in beta state, we're in too much motion, and things can't get in, and things can't transform and transmute. So taking yourself into a really deep theta state, and then allowing yourself to use intention and energy and visualization to bring balance to each chakra, which then actually activates a different field or frequency of light that emanates from the chakras, because we're bringing attention, love, and awareness, which, you know, doesn't everybody want attention, love, and awareness? Of course. We want presence. We want someone to listen to us. We want someone to hear us. And we want someone to pay attention to us. So our chakras aren't any different. They want attention and love. So we're going to give them attention and love. And when we do this, like I said, a new frequency of light comes in, because we're resonating, we're shifting the resonant field from whether there is an influx of less or more than information. If there is actually a less or more fear that's living in there, or a battle between will or anger towards someone, or like this, like, I want to tell someone something, but I'm holding it in kind of thing. So when we bring the love in and we create a new resonant light frequency, which then all the rest of the cells that are feeding off of the chakra, so say like our third chakra, which feeds the kidneys, or I'm sorry, the liver and the gallbladder and the intestines, if we're having any kind of issues like digestive issues or something like that, focus on your third chakra, bring lots of love and attention and awareness into the third chakra, and then you can actually start to draw the intestinal biophotons, of the combination of all the different cells that create the intestines, will start to draw upon a different energy field of light, which then can create transformation. Woo! How about that? So there's one thing to add to your practice every day, and we'll go through that at the end of this class. A couple other influences that I want to talk about that are being purged and that are, I guess, are on high right now because of this dramatic shift that we're going through. I don't like to play into this too much, but, you know, we can talk about the dark forces that are trying to hold us back from really actualizing the light of who we are. And we see this, you know, in the industrial world and like the pharmaceutical companies and governments, and we can do it on the individual self, but then there's also the galactic levels through which, you know, there's entities and beings that are coming in, and some of these entities and beings, like and inclusions, and there are parasites as well that are living in the etheric world that come in and want to feed off of you, or they want to come in and host in your body because, well, one, some of them are just interested in like, oh wow, look at this, I wonder what that's like, and they want to come in and play, and some of them are actually like, oh yeah, no, I want to come in and I want to, like, shift, implant some of my consciousness into their consciousness without them knowing, because most of the time we don't even know. And so they come in not necessarily with good intentions. So those are like entities. And then there's also like the parasites as well, which can live in the etheric body, like in the auric field, but then eventually over time will actually permeate through and then can cause physical symptoms. And they also they'd have like this like emanation or pulsation that beacons information to wherever they came from. And then those beings that are attached into these parasites can actually use that field frequency or intention consciousness field to pulse through these parasites and bring that kind of consciousness into our bodies as well. So they actually become like beacons. So the parasites that live in our bodies, and I even, I'll even go as far as saying like Candida as well has its own, ability to take over our consciousness in a certain way, even though it's not technically a parasite but more a fungus. But there is a consciousness that lives within these beings that then merges with your own consciousness. And what's also really amazing is that even when you remove some of these entities and beings, and some of you maybe have had clearings, and it helps, but one of the pieces that I want to really iterate that not a lot of people take into consideration is that even once you extract these entities, beings, inclusions, and parasites from your body and from your auric field, they leave an energetic imprint. So you'll still be receiving some of the encodement of what they left in your energetic and physical body. So one of the things that's really important, like if you're doing self-healing techniques on yourself when you're at home, is to make sure that you also, set the intention that this is in all time, space dimensions, parallel universes, so that it's, threaded through time with a multidimensional self, because we can be picking these up on a multidimensional level. So being aware of that aspect of it, and then asking that all electromagnetic frequencies that are attached or have been encoded from these particular parasites, entities, or inclusions be removed at a cellular level. So asking that they be removed at a cellular level, you can use a white light. I like white light. I bring it through my crown and then like bring it through my entire body, through my neck, my shoulders, my arms, down through the body. And then I imagine it going down into the cells, and I imagine it literally erasing or clearing or dissolving any kind of electrical magnetic imprinting that may have happened from anything that is not in the biggest alignment with who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime right now. So that is something that I want to really bring in and reiterate, that we can take the time to remove these parasitic entities, or but we have to actually remove the full imprint, because it's just the same thing as like a transplant patient. There's a ton of medical evidence of people who will, like, I think there's a story about a woman who, or I think it was a woman who was a super healthy person. She had a heart problem, and she ended up getting a heart transplant from a young 17-year-old boy who was in a car accident. And all of a sudden she started craving French fries and fast food and having all these different kinds of mannerisms that she had never had before. And so she actually found the family of the boy to find out more information about who this child was that gifted her the heart. And come to find out, those were some of the things, those patterns, the fast food, and I can't remember all the different things that there were, but that they were actually characteristics of that person. So even though the soul itself had extracted, there was an imprint of those particular characteristics that was left in the cells of the heart. So when it was placed into the woman, then she started taking on those things. So that's also what happens with the parasites, entities, inclusions, is that they come into the body, and even though we remove them, we still have residuals. So being aware of the fact that there could be residual left over, and also aware of the fact that we could have some kind of entity or being that's in us. I mean, one of the biggest ones that I run into when I'm doing healing work are these, like, what I call the black tentacly guys. They look like, I don't know how to explain them, but they look like black, and they have like little tentacles that are like, and I find these a lot, and they live in little nests in people's bodies, and sometimes it's just one that's like covering like a chakra, or it goes into an organ, or it's an actual full nest where like tons of them start coming out, and you have to like clear out the whole nest. And those ones are actually associated with fear, like where we're storing, like they bring fear, they hold fear, they're attracted to fear, so that's how they get in. So, you know, part of this piece of us right now with this transformation and stuff is like, often when we're tired and stuff, we're in a weakened state, which also allows these entities, parasites, and inclusions to come into the body. So we have to also work on protecting ourselves. But the thing is those little black tentacly guys are the ones that get attracted to the fear, and they're like, ooh, yeah, this person's scared of this, and it lives right here, so we're going to go in, we're going to burrow in, and we're going to continue that pulse of fear. And you may think you've cleared it like on a subconscious level, but if you haven't cleared the electromagnetic frequency and field pulsing through the body, these little black tentacly guys are going to continue that pulse of fear until you actually alleviate them. So these are things to be aware of when you're doing clearing and cleansings on yourself, and we'll do a little bit of that too at the end of this class. So as I was talking about how, you know, our energy field gets weakened sometimes, especially when we've been ill or if we're overtired, and so I wanted to also go over a couple different protection techniques that I use. And people ask me this all the time. How can I protect myself? Like, how did I not allow these things to come in? And being a light worker, also like me, and like when you're like working on multidimensional levels, I'm telling you what, it's hard. I mean, it's just hard. It's something that you have to deal with on a continual basis, like constantly keeping maintenance on your body in order to make sure that you're not, you know, attracting or, you know, holding on to anything that you're picking up from other places or from a weakened like energetic system where they are like ready to go, you know, play. So one of the things that you know, there's the basic light bubble, which you know, what I like to do is imagine like I start at my feet, and I physically like start at my feet, and I pull a bubble up around my body, and I make sure that all of it is like sealed all the way completely around me. And then I go into my heart space, and then I resonate a white light, because again, this is the purification. So I'm going to purify my body first. So I bring in the white light into the heart space, and I radiate that out all the way up through the neck, the head, the shoulders, the arms, down through the body, legs down into the feet. And I allow that to like vibrate, clear, and cleanse my energy field and patterns from anything that does not need to be there. So one, I'm starting off in a sovereign state. And then I emanate that white light beyond my body, and I fill up this white light bubble with that white light. Now, this white light is like divine pure consciousness that's coming in. It's not some manifested white light that we're pulling from our own selves. It's actually from a higher resonant frequency of light. So, I mean, if you want to start with pulling the light in through your body first and then emanating out, that's fine too. But I always like to just, you know, purify and cleanse the white light and expand it up through the bubble. So then you've got this giant pure white protection line. Literally, it's like a bug zapper, you know, like those things that you see in the summertime, and like the mosquitoes are like, zap, zap, you know. That's kind of what happens. I mean, if we're we as light workers and beings, we emanate a lot of light. So these, like, you know, dark forces are attracted to us. They're like, oh, I'm going towards the light, and it's not always ill intentioned. Like I said, it's just like intriguing because it's the light. So we create our own personal bug zapper around this, and you can even set that intention that if anything of the light or not the light comes towards us, it gets zapped, it can't come in. So this is a really great protection and barrier that we can create around our bodies. I do this in the morning, and I also find that it's really important to do this at night, because if we, a lot of us astral travel and we're out like, woo, playing around in the etheric in all the different dimensions, and God knows what lives there and what we're bringing back. So always make sure that you do it in the morning so that you're ready for the day to meet the people that you have to go meet and then be in the situations that you have to be in, and also do it at night so that when you're out working at night in the etheric realms that you are also protected at that time as well. So that's one of the techniques that I use. Another one that I really like is I imagine like a golden spiral that starts at my knees. And I do it when I'm standing. And there's a spiral of golden light that moves around my knees, and it moves down my legs, down through my feet, down into the earth, all the way down through the earth into the crystalline core. And then when it hits the crystalline core of the earth, it ricochets up really quickly, up around my whole body, all the way up into the heavens, like all the way up into whatever, source point you want to place in there. If it's the galactic sun, or if it's a certain planet, or if it's the moon, or, some star, like, have it, go up into the etheric, and it's creating this column or channel that literally flicks things off. It's spinning like this. So it's like a spinning, like a tornado. So anything that comes around just gets thrown off that isn't of the highest light. So that's another really great technique to use. And those are just two of some of my favorite ones. There's some other ones that I do use, but it's more for when I'm going into multidimensional healing work. And, if you're really interested in that, I can let you know. But that's like the big guns. It's like what I call bringing out the hazmat suit. And it's a little bit intense. So those are two really practical and easy. It only takes a couple seconds to do. And they're great to use just in everyday life, or especially if you're going into large crowds, or, a business meeting that's going to be dealing with some seedy people that you don't want to really be talking to. Which, heaven forbid, I hope none of you are doing that. I hope you're always in integrity and alignment and are attracting all the right people into your lives. And just in case, put up your light bubble and create your spiral. So those are just a couple little protection strategies. And then another piece that I want to touch on really quickly is, we have the energetic body, we have the chakra body, and then we have these emotional pieces that we're working through right now. And yes, there is the trauma and the situations that have happened in this lifetime that may be coming up, or the deep feelings of grief, or deep feelings of sadness or frustration. But also there could be patterns and situations that are arising that may not even be from this lifetime. And so it's really important that at this point, especially when we're clearing and making way and we're at a weakened spot, that we access these pieces of ourselves that we've left in other lifetimes. Either it was because maybe there was a divine lover who was, your sacred soulmate who was in another life. And you actually chose to leave a piece of yourself there so that, you wouldn't forget that you would know that that's what it's like you have that remembrance, and it's almost like a beacon for that soul who was the partner in your life to come back to. Like maybe they died or something, and you're like, no, I'm going to leave myself here so they can come back to me. And then so what happens is then in this lifetime, then it makes for distorted kinds of relationships, and we're always waiting for the one, and yet we never are able to attract it because we've left that piece of ourselves that needs to come back and integrate into the wholeness of who we are. So starting to call back those pieces, and a lot of people, think about the traumatic aspects of things, where we were beaten and tortured. So we also have to let those pieces know that it's safe now. It's safe to be here. It's safe to come home. And one of the ways that I like to visualize that is talking to myself and talking to the pieces like actually setting out the intention or the like talking to people, like talking to the etheric, basically. And I see these pieces like little golden fireflies. Now, I don't know why this is, but I'll tell you, when I have worked with people who have transitioned to the other side, and I've watched the consciousness leave their body, or their consciousness comes and visits me after they're done with their integration period of the afterlife, it always looks like little gold sparklies, like gold sparkly flecks. That's what it looks like. And so when I do my soul retrieval, or like aspects of myself to come back, I always visualize them as little golden fireflies of light, and they're coming in from all time, space, dimensions, and parallel universes, once again, because we are multidimensional beings. It's not just the here and now. It's not just on Earth. It is through the galaxy. It is through the galaxy of other dimensions and times that we have existed. We cannot limit ourselves to thinking that we are just Pleiadian or Arcturian or earthly, or, it's like there are races of beings that are like beyond our comprehension, and we have incarnated as these beings at certain points. So, knowing that we haven't just like, keeping a broadened perspective of where these pieces may lay, actually will bring back the information and resources from those parallel times and dimensions, which is what is needed right now. We need to call these places back. We need that innate wisdom. We need it to come back to strengthen our core power. So I say, activate a golden light in the base of the tailbone and ride that up through the spinal column, all the way up into the brainstem, into the pineal gland, and into the pituitary gland in the brain. So you're creating this like consciousness of golden light that is like literally the beacon or pulse that says, okay, my friends, wherever you are, my little fireflies of light consciousness of who I am and the wisdom that I hold, wherever you have been left, you come back to me, and you can see them flying in and reconfiguring back into this column, which strengthens this column of light, which is the pillar that rectifies you and holds you in the sovereignty of who you are. Yay! So this is another key point that I want to wanted to point out, that these are some little constructive ways for us to be taking care of ourselves, being conscious and aware of the way that our chakra system is flowing, how we can keep that in balance, looking at the fact that we may have entities and parasites that are influencing the consciousness of who we are, and how can we actually disassociate, clear these out of our system, and fully and completely, not just like physically, but on the electromagnetic level, and then also looking at protection strategies and calling back the pieces of ourselves. So these are some huge key points to be aware of, especially right now as we're going through this release, the clearing, and we have a lot of extra time because a lot of us are being sick. So when we're sick, start doing these practices. So that's a lot of information for you all, and I want to just take you through a really quick chakra practice. Yeah, so let's all just take a minute and find ourselves a really comfortable position. You can lay down for this one, it's really nice. And I think I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to take you through a little bit of each one of the things that I talked about. So allow your breath to breathe in and out, and creating a deep space of relaxation. And just paying attention to the breath and feeling the belly expand and contract. And then knowing that with each breath, there's a deeper state of relaxation that moves through the muscles. Your shoulders start to fall. And you feel heavier in the seat of where you're sitting or where you're laying. Your body starts to feel heavier and heavier into that space. So imagining at the top of your crown, there's a square shield of light. And this square shield of light emanates an opalescent and almost soft rainbow hue, like a bubble of light, like soap flakes in a soap box, or the snow when it glistens and blows in the air. It's like the fractal light of the rainbow in white. And it's like a thin square plexiglass filled with this light. And gently allow this plexiglass now to start to move like a scanner through the top of your head, and it scans through the body. So it moves through the top of the head, through the face and down the neck. And it's just pulling out anything that is not of the light. It is moving down through the shoulders and through the chest. And it's just collecting, gathering, and deleting anything that is not of the light, whether it's parasitic or entities or misguided energy systems. It's just moving through the abdomen now. And it moves through the pelvis. And it's also big enough that it's actually clearing through your auric field at the same time. So imagine that it's at least, 3 feet to either side of your body, maybe even 6 feet beyond your body. So it's clearing the auric field as well as it moves down through your legs and your feet. And then this plexiglass starts to dissolve when it hits the earth. And it's just taken all the stuff. This is the first round of cleansing and clearing. It's really setting the body into a nice homeostasis, getting clear of all that stuff. And if you want to, you can run that square, plexiglass light through your body one more time, starting at the top, and just run it through the auric field, so 3 to 6 feet beyond the body, and allow it to move through the head and the neck and the shoulders and down through the chest, and again gathering anything that is not of the highest light, that does not need to be in the body, down through the pelvis, down the legs, down to the feet, into the earth, and it dissolves with the earth, then just creates it into something beautiful to grow. Next, taking your time to focus into the chakra systems, activating that golden light through the spinal column. So focusing on the beautiful golden ray of the 12th ray consciousness at the base of the spine, even down into the sacrum, the tailbone. It glows, and in his own consciousness moves vertebrae by vertebrae up the spinal column, all the way up into the brainstem, into the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Creating this beautiful, stable column of light. And knowing that that is activated, we're now going to use that pulsation of the 12th ray of the unified consciousness to help us infuse into the chakra system. We're going to use that information and wisdom, the lightness, the joy, the oneness, the love, the nurturing, the expansiveness. Start to feel that in your body. And then with intention of balance, bring that awareness into the root chakra right at the base of the perineum. If you want to, you can go ahead and imagine the chakra color of red. And just infuse that red light with the highest frequency of joy and love and good intentions. See if that chakra has something it wants to tell you. If it has information or wisdom. Each chakra has something that it might want to say. And place your attention and awareness into that space. Seeing how the energy flows, and if you need to, just create a very beautiful, gentle spiral of light. And then bringing your attention and awareness into the second chakra, which is just a couple fingers down from the belly button, in our belly. The color is orange. And again, drawing upon the golden light consciousness that's riding through our spine. Find the joy and peace and nurturing and highest intentions of good energy, and we send that into our second chakra. Now bringing our attention and awareness into the third chakra in the center of will. The color is yellow. And then again, tuning into that beautiful golden column of light and feeling the sensation of oneness and expansiveness, pure love and joy. Move that into the third chakra, allowing the frequency to balance and calibrate into wholeness so that it is working in the same energetic frequency and field as the first, second, and third chakras, calibrating them to be in union with each other instead of out of balance if they happen to be. With the intention of good love, see if that chakra has a message for you at all. Now bringing your attention and awareness into the fourth chakra. The color is green. And again, we're bringing that beautiful divine Christ consciousness frequency of love into the heart space, knowing that we're allowing it to expand into the color of green, noticing if there's any kind of restriction that is happening into that space, and just breathe that love into that space, setting a good intention and seeing if it has a message for you. And taking a deep breath in and out, and just allowing the breath to bring into a deeper state of relaxation, and just noticing that golden rod of light that moves up through the spine is actually also creating a balancing stability, force, and synchronicity of how those first four chakras that we've worked with are now harmonized and working with the same frequency and resonance with one another. Now coming into the throat chakra, the color is blue. And we're again going to bring that balance and synchronicity of the divine Christ consciousness, love, and joy into that space, holding that field, feeling in your body first, and then directing your intention directly into the throat chakra, right there in the center of your throat. There you go. And see if it has a message for you, if there's a place where it needs to speak out. Just be a good listener. Make sure that you take the time when you do this practice later on your own to be fully present with each one of these chakras and see if they have something they want to tell you. Now moving into the third eye chakra, that center point between the eyebrows and the center of the brain with the pineal gland. The color is purple. I always see it more of like a lavender with a white swirl in it. I find it's kind of more of a combination of the purple and the God consciousness of the crown chakra. So that's just me. You can choose to use whatever hue of purple you would like. If you want to even use a color, which by all means is not necessary, really this is about bringing your attention and awareness and infusing a higher state of love frequency into each chakra to create balance and harmony. So just sending that intention into that chakra now. Nice. I don't know, just even giving you guys this meditation, I'm starting to feel more balanced. All right, now let's bring our attention and awareness to our crown chakra. At the very tippy top of our head, the seat of where we receive our divine guidance is actually coming from the 8th chakra, about a foot above our head. But for now, we're focusing on the crown chakra. The color is white. And it's like a purified white. And just allow that purified white light to come into harmony and resonance with the other lower chakras, the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Using that pineal gland pulsation of light to amplify and balance, creating the perfect conduit and conduit spaciousness for it to receive and move through all the chakras. There you go. Because once these chakras are in alignment and the central channel is pulsing with a wide open frequency, then what comes from above can manifest almost instantaneously. So the more resonance we find in our chakra system, the more instantaneously we actually manifest what it is that we want. And time is speeding up and time is starting to not exist. So be aware of your thoughts and feelings in this time, in this moment. This manifestation is instantaneous once we get this alignment channel. Focusing your beautiful intention of the golden light of the Christ consciousness of love. Now even take a moment to tune into the auric field and see how it may be like kind of moving in and out and creating more of a balance, because the chakra system themselves is now pulsing in a balanced caliber, which then allows the light frequencies of the auric field to recalibrate balance and receive these new light codes of the 12th way Christ consciousness frequency. Everything recalibrates itself to this. And while we're here, take a moment and allow yourself to tune in now to a deep space of relaxation. Activate that golden core all the way from the base of the tailbone all the way up into the brainstem, that channel of light pulsation, with now the intention of pulling back any pieces from all time, spaces, and dimensions and universes that are ready to come back now. Pulling back this information all the way into the central channel core of who you are. Seeing little fireflies of light coming in and landing into that core space, creating a more resonant field, creating a more solid column of light, pulling in the frequencies of information that are now that you can now embody and fully live in a deeper place of wholeness from these pieces coming back, allowing them to come in more and more until it feels complete. And then creating the sacred bubble of light around us to seal in all this beautiful purification and clearing that we have done. Bringing up in your mind's eye, imagining you stepping inside of this white light bubble, pulling it up and securing it tightly. Allowing this balanced light frequency from the center of your body, a golden or white light, core of white light that moves through and expands into the edges of this white light bubble, infusing you in a protective space now that you're whole, more whole and balanced, and your energy frequency is as stable, and your neurological resonance is pure and clear. Your auric field has been purified as well. When you feel ready, just take some deep breaths in and out, bringing yourself back into this space and time. With the balance and recreating a whole new information web of light system through every single cell that reflects in the biophoton of who you are as you move through this incredible transition that's happening right now. So make sure you can take time to do these practices to help yourself move forward through whatever it is that may be going on. And maybe your life is awesome right now. That's cool too. Use it anyways, because it's like a continual upgrade. This will help to continually upgrade and keep our systems balanced. So it's like preventative medicine as well. So it's been really, kind of fun, yummy class today. I'm glad that we got to share, and feel free to email me if you have any questions. And so let's close this circle with a deep gratitude and thanks for all the beings that came forth to help us in this beautiful class of wisdom and information. So grateful for everyone that has come in on the physical level as well as the etheric, and all my guides and spirits that have helped me be able to communicate clearly what it is that needs to be told to the people today. Thank you for keeping the hearts open for all those who have joined and gathered. May they be blessed and held in the space of love. And so it is, and so it shall be, and so it was. Thank you all. Aloha. Have a great next few weeks.